All right, today we're going to take a look at incorporating fractions into two-step equations. So when we're working with fractional equations, remember, first off, you should expect fractions as answers. And when you're working with these types of numbers, you need to make sure that you don't round answers. If you remember this slide for previously in your packet that we talked about, that math button on your calculator, and allows you to change it back into a fraction. So again, when you have any kind of computation, like 9/7 plus 2/5, when we do that in our calculator, you're going to get it in a decimal format answer. Just take a minute, use that math button to change it back to a fraction. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because, let's go to the next slide here. When you are looking at a two-step equation, it is going to lead to errors. Because again, you're kind of illegally rounding in the middle of the problem. So if this is my two-step equation here at the top, 1/5 x plus 1/3 equals 5/3. Now, student A is going to incorrectly round right in the middle of the problem, because again, remember, this is a two-step equation, which is you have two steps to solve it, two steps for student B as well, and they both follow the process correctly. They subtract first and then they divide, which is the correct order, but the computation again leads them in two different directions. So if we look at this problem a little bit closer, you can see that both students correctly saw that addition of 1/3 and subtracted on both sides. So again, operations, how they solved it was correct. When they did the computation in their calculator, again, both students put it in correctly and got that decimal of 1.333333. Now, if we take a look at how they recorded their answer, student A just put down 1.3 and forgot about the rest of the problem. Student B turned it back into a fraction by, again, using that math button that we see and hitting enter twice, and then it correctly converted it into 4/3. That encompasses the entire value of the number and doesn't change it at all. The second step is that they saw that multiplication of 1/5, so they correctly divided using inverses. And again, both people followed the correct operations, but because of that illegal rounding in that first step, they did get two different answers. All right, so student B was actually correct in this last problem here. So just to point that out to you. And like it or not, guys, math is very particular. So if you do happen to have one small error in the middle of your problem, you're going to end up with the answer wrong at the end as well. So let's get down and dirty. Let's practice some problems. So these are on the next page of your packet. And we're going to complete them together today as practice. So you hopefully get a little bit more comfortable. Just remembering that the process is the same, guys. We're going to follow those same steps as we have in with two-step equations, and let your calculator, again, do the dirty work for the actual math. All right, so if we take a look at this problem, the first thing that we do is we kind of focus in here on the side with the variable. So in this case, it is on the left-hand side. So 2a minus 5/6. Again, there's two numbers with our variable. We have a 2 and a 5/6. As far as operations, the one we're going to move first is our subtraction of 5/6. And then the 2, guys, is representing multiplication. So we're going to handle that in the order that we've been doing it. All right, so the first thing, you remove the subtraction by adding 5/6. We're going to add 5/6 to both sides. Opposites cancel. We drop down our 2a, and that computation, 2/3 plus 5/6, we're going to put it in our calculator, remembering to put parentheses around the fractions. Change our answers back into into a fraction, so we don't illegally round anything or chop anything off. So we get 3/2 as our answer. The second step here is multiplication of 2, as I mentioned. So to get rid of it, we're going to divide by 2. And if you look, about 3/2 is already in my calculator ready to go. Take a quick shortcut, guys, and all you need to really put in the calculator is divide by 2. That's our next operation. We're going to divide that answer by 2. I do get a decimal answer, but again, since I have fractions in my problem, you should most likely, just best practice really, is to match up the type of problem or the type of answer with the type of numbers in the problem. So I changed it back to a fraction by, again, using that math button and got the answer of 3/4. All right, take a look at this next one here, top right. Again, let's focus in on the side of the variable. I have a 3 hanging out with my z and a 4. So looking at which one comes first as far as moving them, we have a, oop, now I'm all over the board with colors here. We actually, let me actually change this back into red so we don't get confused. We would undo the addition of 4 first, and then this looks more troublesome, but really, guys, it's division of 3. So following those steps procedures, we're going to move my addition by use of inverse, which is subtraction. Opposites cancel. We have z, and I'm going to put a little line through my z so it makes sense to you. Z divided by 3 is whatever this answer is. So again, I'm going to put fractions in parentheses. So 5, 6, and I have a minus 4. I get a decimal. I want to change it back into a fraction because, again, I don't want to chop it off. That changes things and that leads to wrong answers. And I get 19/6. The second part of my equation is to undo that division. So I'm going to multiply by 3 on both sides. Again, opposites cancel. I can cross it out. And then my answer here, this orange part, negative 19/6, that's still in there. I'm just going to perform that second operation of times 3, and I get a negative 9.5. Now again, guys, this isn't completely wrong. I could just write down negative 9.5, and I'm not changing it, altering it, chopping it off, but it's best practice to change it back into the form of the problem, which in our case is fractions. So our answer is 19/2. All right, taking a look at this bottom one on the right, here's our variable. I've got 2 operations with it. I've got a plus, I've got a plus 1/4. And again, this looks scary, but it's division of 7. So to undo it, I'm going to get rid of that positive 1/4 and subtract 1/4 from both sides. This is more complicated, right? But we're going to use our calculator, plug it all in. So we've got 5/6, and we're going to subtract 1/4. Get a long decimal, hit my math button, turn it back into a fraction, and I get 7/12. And I'm just going to bring down a divided by 7. Now my second step is to get rid of this division of 7. We're going to multiply by 7. I'm going to move my answer over here, guys. A is equal to 7/12. This should just be one big times sign. Notice I don't use the X, I use the dot. That's confusing in algebra, right? So I've already got 7/12 in my calculator. We're just going to multiply by 7, and we get the answer of 4.08333333. Again, if I chop it off, we're kind of cheating the number. So turning it back into a math fraction, and we've got 49/12. All right, last one here, guys. Mine looks a little bit different here. This should not have an A in there. The one in your packet does not. So your problem should read 2/3 equals 3/5 minus 1/2 A. Now this one is the type we all don't like, right? Multiple reasons why. Number one, our variable's on the right-hand side. So it's a little bit different in the fact that it's not in its normal standard form. The second part is that, yes, I still have 2 numbers with my variable, but they are a little bit trickier. I have 3/5, which is not as close to my n. It's not attached. That's actually my addition of 3/2. And then even though you're tempted to think that it's a subtraction of 1/2, this is a negative 1/2 being multiplied by a. You see how it's directly up against my variable? That's what kind of clues me into that is a multiplication part, and the number, or the sign out to the left comes with it. So we have a positive 3/5 and a multiplication of negative 1/2. So to remove, we use opposites. We're first going to subtract 3/5 from both sides. And we have a negative 1. Let me see if I can move that over here. I'm actually going to erase this just so I have a little bit more space, guys. You have a negative 1/2 A on the right-hand side. My 2/3 minus 3/5, if I put that in my calculator here, again, don't stress, put it in the calculator. It never hurts, though, to take a minute and stop and look and make sure fractions are in parentheses, that your signs are correct, that you put in the right numbers. I've been guilty of it myself, just changing a number by accident. I get a decimal, changing it back into a fraction. 1/15 is my answer. Now, negative 1/2 we said was multiplied by A, right? So right here, this is, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to highlight here. This is being multiplied by A. So to get rid of it, we're going to divide. So I'm going to divide by negative 1/2 a. Now again, here on the right-hand side it cancels. This is 1/15 divided by negative 1/2. And again, same thing, my orange right here, my 1/15, my answer is still my calculator. I'm going to do my next operation, which is to divide by negative 1/2. And again, remember that floating negative up front, you can attach to the 1 or the 2 from previous lessons we looked at. Decimal answer, changing it back into a fraction, we get negative 2/15. So hopefully you can see going through these problems, they're not fun. I don't know a lot of people that love fractions, right? But you have the tools in the calculator to help you along, that I'm hoping you kind of become a little more confident with yourself that I can follow these steps. They're the same steps that you've been doing over the last couple of days with different numbers. So yes, they're fractions. Yes, they're annoying, but you've got a calculator resource to help. So today was just notes and examples. Tomorrow you're going to be completing a practice activity. Please share your note sheet with me for participation points and complete the activity, and also submit those for a grade. If you need anything else, please reach out, and good luck.